Hello and welcome to the Downsized Dish. My name is Laraine Durham, and this is our weekly series when we talk to people who are on GLP-1 medications such as Mounjaro, Tirzepatide, Wegovy, Ozempic, Saxenda, all the GLP-1 medications. So today we're talking to Barb. Hi, Barb. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you. I'm very, very happy to be here.
We're glad to have you here. Thanks for coming today. I say coming because we're,
Uh-huh.
not not actually in the same place. But so, Barb, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I have been on the weight loss journey since I was about 10 when I was taken to the doctor and put on Black Beauties, which are amphetamines. And
Ooh,
then at
10 years
11,
old?
uh-huh,
I think.
and
Wow.
yeah, yeah. And then Weight Watchers at 11, and it just swooped from there and just
Yeah.
went to every single thing that we know, including Fen-Phen, where I got the heart valve damage. And
Oh, wow.
then I had a gastric bypass in 2001, Roux-en-Y gastric bypass, and lost 190 pounds and then gained that back within probably 5, 6 years, somewhere around there, and then more. And then I started Trulicity in April of 2022. No,
Mhm.
sorry, May, June, July, August. August of 2022, and was on that for a year and
Mhm.
then started Mounjaro 7 months ago. And
Okay.
now, of course, I step right in when we're having all these shortages. And I
I
was
know.
10, 12.5, 15, 15, 12.5. And
Mm.
now tomorrow they finally found one for me. So it's 12.5 again.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm very happy because I wanted to tell you, because of you, I went to Mochi and
Oh,
I've
yay.
got an appointment with them and I'm gonna
Okay.
keep it because of the
Why not?
shortages.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, yeah, and they're wonderful, they're
Oh,
wonderful. So,
great.
thank you.
Great. Great. Glad to hear that.
Yeah,
Yeah, the shortages have really been affecting us as well. Christopher, we can't find 10 or 12.5. So he might join me in the compounded route. We started on the compounded route and then he went the branded route, and so we've kind of been
right.
back and forth. But yeah, and I think someone said they saw the Today Show where a rep from Eli Lilly was on, and they said the shortages aren't gonna end anytime soon, so
Right.
great.
I know, it's very that's why I'm gonna keep the appointment with Mochi is
Yeah,
because I can't be without it. I mean, it's just terrifying, and I know it's you're gonna ask, but I lost 40 on my own and
yeah,
from April to when I started Trulicity,
yeah,
86 after the year on Trulicity, and now
okay.
total I'm down 206 pounds. So in
That's
2 years.
that's amazing.
I
I
know
mean,
it's crazy.
congratulations.
Thank you.
That's I mean, here's your before and after pictures. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's just,
Yeah.
you're half your size,
I
right?
am. Yeah, I
Yeah.
actually weigh less now than I've lost. Yeah. I've lost
Wow.
more than I weigh. Yeah.
You've lost a couple of people. Some people say, "Oh, I've lost a whole person."
I know, right?
So, yeah. So,
Yeah.
what do you think makes this time different for you?
It's still early. So it's actually one of the questions I get asked a lot is, am I afraid of
Oh,
something happening in the future? And I'm actually not because I made it through Fen-Phen even with the heart valve damage. I made it through the gastric bypass even with all kinds of lingering problems 21 years later.
wow.
And if things come up, they come up and I
Right.
deal with them. So what I really work hard to do is live for today. One of the things 2 years ago and for 20 years before, I was immobile. And I mean, so immobile, I was using electric wheelchairs. I was using a walker to even go 5 steps to the bathroom,
Wow.
just and canes if I had to move around in my room. I fell once and had to have EMS come pick me up. I mean, it was very difficult. So Today, I walk miles. This morning, I walked 3 miles,
That's great.
and it's amazing. So, yeah, whatever comes down the pike, I can handle. I live for today, and today's the good one.
Have you had any side effects from the Trulicity and then the Mounjaro?
The
No?
only thing I have is little bit of constipation,
Okay.
but I take my fiber pills
Yay. Yes.
every day so that I can stay regular, and it helps a lot. So,
So, the constipation, I definitely can relate to that. I take fiber gummies
uh-huh,
that
yeah,
I
good, good,
take
good.
every day, and I almost notice that as I get as my body gets more used to the increased dosage, I
Uh-huh.
seem to be having less constipation. Have you noticed that up at
No,
the top
no,
doses? No, you're
no,
still
no, yeah, because it's still pretty early in the process of going up, and I've just been going up and down and up and down, so
yeah,
I think my body's like, "Ah, what's going on?" So, the fiber helps tremendously. So,
yeah, and I know you have are a midwife. Are you still a midwife? Are you
no, I'm retired about 11 years now, yeah,
you're tired? Yeah.
yeah,
One thing that struck me also about your blog was you were talking about your advocacy for accessibility for bigger people
yep.
in spaces and like chairs without arms and stuff like that.
Yep, exactly. It's actually one of the things I was a what's considered a fat activist back in the 80s and spoke a lot about fat activism. And even as I've gone up and down and up and down, one of the things that I always do is advocate for spaces to be accessible for people who have overweight or I call it fat. So it's just I can use it, it's my descriptor, it's
You
my
absolutely
adjective,
can.
so, for people who are fat. But yeah, I had a midwifery office and everything from the equipment to the drapes that we used on people to furniture, everything was geared towards people that were at least 400, 500 pounds.
Wow.
And most of my midwifery clients were overweight as well or had overweight. And they would come to me because I was a fat midwife. So,
I guess they knew you got it. You understood. Yeah.
yep.
It's must be so hard in those situations, as I'm sure you've seen. Also, I was reading about on your blog, you talk about food noise. You
Yes.
call it something else.
I call it food cacophony.
Cacophony. Yeah.
That's
Tell
what
me
it
about
is.
that.
It's just, oh
Yeah.
my gosh. What's so funny is until the Fen-Phen, I never knew what it was like. I didn't realize I had it. And then
Yeah.
the Fen-Phen made it go away. And then the gastric bypass, not so much. But boy, when I first started Trulicity and then Mounjaro even made it more absent. It was amazing. It was so wonderful. But how I describe it to people is like a ticker tape. It's like, I want to eat. Where can I eat? What can I do? Where can I get food? Where can I hide
Yeah.
it? Can I get it? And it's just a continuous low hum of looking for food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find it so comforting, I guess, in a way to know that I wasn't the only one who had this for my whole
Mm.
life. I
I
thought
know, right?
I thought I was the only one that just heard this little voice saying, "What are we gonna eat for dinner? Where's my snack? It's 3 o'clock. Let's go check out the pantry." Like, I didn't know that that was something a lot of people
Right.
dealt with.
Right.
And I think you almost talk about how it was like a bully, like it bullied
Yes.
you.
Oh, well, that was absolutely when I stopped the Fen-Phen, it did. It came back with a vengeance. It was screaming at me like, "Where have you been? You haven't eaten. You need to eat now." And I had lost 111 pounds and regained that. I went up to 150 within 6 months.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's just our brains working against us. You
Right,
know, it's
exactly, exactly,
and
and now what's happening in the news that actually came out today in USA Today, they're talking about what happens when women get pregnant and they have to stop the GLP-1s
oh,
immediately when they get
oh,
pregnant, and
oh,
how their hunger is insatiable. Some women were gaining 20, 40, 50 pounds in 2 or 3 months because
Well,
it was
yeah.
so.
So I've had three kids. I have
Mhm,
3 children, and I think with my first one, I gained almost 100 pounds. With my second, I gained about 70, and with my
mhm.
third one, I finally figured out, "Oh, I should try to rein this back a little
Right,
bit,"
right.
and only gained about 50, and I was trying to explain this to my daughter. It was like I always felt like I had to be eating, so I felt better if I ate something. I felt
Mhm.
less nauseous, I felt less tired, so I was
Yeah.
constantly eating, and I don't know if the obesity, I guess it was, fueling
Mhm.
that
It is.
increased
Right,
drive,
right.
and I remember doctors yelling at me, like,
Mhm.
telling me
Mhm.
anyway,
I
I could go
know,
on about
and
that.
you know,
I'm
I know.
sure.
I gained 70 with my first, 30 with the second, 30 with the third. Never lost any of it ever, and never
Yeah,
lost weight nursing. Gained more
yeah.
weight nursing, and yeah, exactly. And now what's going to happen, what I'm watching for, I love studies. We're going to have retrospective studies on these women as they have gone off. We're going to be able to see, they're calling them symptoms, but I kind of call them after effects of the GLP-1s on their body. But we're going to be able to see exactly when the hunger started coming back, when it came back voraciously,
Huh,
when they started feeling normal again, things like that. It's going to be really interesting to be able to watch. So,
yeah,
because of
for
course
sure.
they did no testing on pregnant women, of course. So,
Yeah, you don't wanna mess with a pregnant woman
no,
too
no,
much.
no.
Let's talk about what you eat now. What are some of your go-to meals? What are some things you eat now?
It's, well, back in April of 22, I was eating Uber Eats at least twice a day.
Wow.
And what happened, and I'm not sure if you had gotten to that part, but what happened was I was in the hospital with complications from COVID.
Mhm.
And a doctor, a cardiophysiologist who's a specialist in cardiology, was standing in the doorway doing a consult with another 3 doctors. And he said to me, he crossed his arms and he said, "You will either change your life or you will live in a nursing home." And
Yeek.
that kicked my butt. And I stopped Uber Eats that day. And then 4 months later started the Trulicity, and
That's
and now here we are as well. And I did not know who he was. I had to get my records to thank him. And now
wow.
he's a part of my life now. So
Oh,
yeah.
great, that's great.
He
Isn't it
saved
funny
my
how
life.
somebody can say just that one
Right, right,
comment?
because I'm Latin, I'm Cuban, and everybody in my family has diabetes. So the
Oh,
threat to have diabetes was like, whatever, everybody
everybody has it.
does. And
Yeah.
yeah, and oh, you're gonna die if you're so fat. And I'm like, everybody dies. Well, the nursing home, that was the one that got me.
Fate worse than death,
Yes,
I guess,
exactly.
mentally thinking about
Uh-huh.
being confined and
Yeah, yeah.
well, I'm glad that it kickstarted you.
I know, right?
So
Exactly.
now that Uber Eats is off the table,
Oh, yes.
what
What
do
do
you
I
do?
eat?
Yeah.
So my I eat really odd. I love lean cuisine, the healthy choice. And I know that when we tried to do the lean cuisine diet, I ended up eating 2 or 3 of them way
Yeah, they're
back,
so small. Yeah.
Yeah, now I can't even finish them.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Isn't that funny?
So,
Yeah.
yes, it's crazy. But my absolute go-to is shredded chicken. I
Okay.
I was a vegetarian and a vegan for 40 years.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
now that my body, well, first of all, of course, we need the protein anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I started with the Mounjaro, I could actually see the muscle going away quicker.
Oh.
So I have the skin to prove it.
Yeah.
But so I got shredded grilled chicken, and I eat that at least once a day, a big pile of it. Sometimes I put Sonny's barbecue sauce on it, or sometimes I just eat it with just by itself. So yeah, that's my
That's
big
pretty good.
go-to. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, chicken is such a great source of protein. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's, we eat a lot of chicken at our house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you cook or you buy it pre-cooked?
Pre-cooked. Pre-
Pre-cooked. Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't cook anything. My husband Christopher cooks everything.
Good for
So
him. Good job.
I
Good
usually just
job.
say, "What's for dinner?"
Uh-huh.
But I
Uh-huh.
do the grocery shopping, so he
Good.
doesn't appreciate that most of the
Yeah.
time. You
Uh,
mentioned you mentioned walking. Have you gone off from that and tried anything else, or mostly just
Yes,
walking?
I've got my weights back here behind me, and
Awesome.
I do YouTube for the barbells for seniors and beginners. So, and
Perfect.
I dance around the room.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the loose skin is definitely an issue. I mean, some insurances will cover
right.
the is that have you looked into that at all?
I go on the first, I go to my primary care to let her know to s- to start chronicling what's going on, because when I walk, my belly is so droopy now
Yeah.
that by the end of my walk, my back is killing me.
Yeah.
So that's going to be one. I don't know how I'm going to get rid of my arms unless they start slapping me in the face or something, which possibly could happen.
Yeah.
My bottom and my belly and just everything just needs to be done. And I actually, there's a part of me that doesn't even care because I'm able, oh, I'm going to cry, because I'm able to move and I
Yeah.
can hide it. I can wear
Yeah.
leggings, I've got a sweater on, and
Yeah.
and the other part of me is I go walking without covering my arms. And I'm going to put a sign on my back. I'm going to get a shirt that says I've lost 200 pounds. So nobody has a fit making fun of me in their car, things like that. So I see it as a badge of honor.
Awesome. Well, hopefully the insurance will help you out a little bit if
Yes.
it's keeping you from walking or
Hurting.
doing, and
Yeah,
maybe they could just wrap it up into one whole package. My
exactly.
I do Weight Watchers, and my Weight Watchers leader she lost over 100 pounds and had her arms done, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And she has the scar that
Uh-huh.
runs along through there.
I
But
have
yeah,
scars everywhere. So, yeah, I've had
yeah.
skin cancer. So I've got a
Oh,
really
girl.
large, I know, right? I have a really large scar on my right arm. So what's more scars? Whatever.
Wow. You have been through it. You have been through it. Use that sunscreen, please. Yes. When you walk, do you
I actually
suns-
I've got long sleeve SPF shirts,
That's good.
and I wear a hat and my sunscreen all over. Yeah. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I've got cancer right now on this eye. They're doing chemo on it. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I keep
That's
going, girl. I keep going. And I try and walk in the morning. I try and
yeah.
walk before the sun comes up.
You've been through so much. Do you have any advice that you would give to someone who's thinking about starting one of these medications?
What's really interesting is how when people find religion or change their political affiliation or whatever, and you just become this total rabid proselytizer. And that's what I am. I take Uber a lot. And if there's a large size Uber driver, I make sure to say, I've lost, la, 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 la. And then they're like, well, how? And then I tell them, and they write it down. And so that's one of the
Awesome.
things I try to do, is to be the example I would love others to follow if they want, because I understand not everybody wants to lose weight.
Yeah.
And that's, as I've told you, that's actually not exactly why I'm doing it. That's ancillary. That's
Right.
secondary to what it is that I do. Mine, it was to deal with my diabetes. Sorry, I have to gulp. Mine was to deal with my diabetes, and my hemoglobin A1C was a 9, and now it's a
Oh,
5.1.
Wow.
And so I'm in the non-diabetic range now. My liver, my fatty liver is going away. My kidneys are very happy. My cholesterol is normal finally. My blood pressure is normal. And I've gone off 8 different medications.
That's
And
amazing.
so I know. And so that's one of the things people are, I have to do it forever. And to me, it's like, okay, well, 8 medications forever or 1 medication forever
It's a
and being much
no-brainer. Yeah.
healthier. Exactly.
It's a no-brainer, and yeah, my mother asked me, "Oh, well, don't you have to take that forever?" Well, maybe.
Yeah,
And so what?
yeah,
You know, you wouldn't say that to someone with high blood pressure or
exactly.
diabetes or, et cetera. And talking about the Uber driver and
Uh-huh.
telling Uber drivers, because people at the gym have seen me and been asking me, "What am I
I
doing?" And
bet.
so I'm just telling them straight
Yep,
out.
I do too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I tell them, I say, "You see me in this gym 4 to 5 times a week. I
yeah,
do Weight Watchers, and I tell them Mounjaro because it's too hard to explain
right,
compounded tirzepatide or whatever, and I've
right,
almost, like, thought about making little cards to just kinda give a bullet point and,
right.
like, go here, look at my and one lady, I was telling her about our YouTube channel, and she was
Uh-huh.
like, "I've never heard of this. Well, tell me more about this. Well, what" I'm
Oh, I
like,
love it.
"Let me text you a link to
Yeah.
my YouTube channel." So I was thinking about having little cards made,
Yep.
and that way, when pe and people are so afraid to talk about weight, how much they weigh, how they lost weight. Are we too big? Are we too thin? And I'm just tired, and you must be
Right.
exhausted
Yeah. And
about it.
exactly, exactly. And one of the things that happens is so many people have been traumatized by the discussion.
Yeah.
By when I was needed my I know, right? I needed my gallbladder out and the doctor stood there, a doctor I had seen one time, and I needed it out bad. And she said, "You will never find a doctor to take your gallbladder out at that weight. You are too fat." And I, who am really tough when it comes to fat discrimination,
Mhm.
cried after she left. I didn't give her the satisfaction. And it took me 3 years of bravery to find somebody finally who
Oh
was
my
a
gosh.
bariatric doctor. And he said to me, "You
Oh.
are hardly the fattest person I've ever taken care of." And I was like, "Oh, thank God, you know."
Yay!
But
I think
yeah, but people get
yay, not
traumatized
yay.
by doctors and
Yeah,
family and yeah.
yeah, it's, even, like, people in the grocery store. Like, I remember one time I had started Weight Watchers for the millionth time. This
Uh-huh.
was probably 20, 30 years ago, and I was buying all these Weight Watchers products, like and the person checking me out said, "Are you on Weight Watchers?" And I said, "How'd you guess?" I
Truly.
was just like, "Shut up." Like
Uh-huh.
but anyway, it's been great talking with you, Barb. You
Thank
have
you.
just so much a wealth of information and
Thank
knowledge,
you.
and I feel like maybe we need to do a series just with Barb. Laraine and
I would
Barb
love
talk
it.
about
I would love it. So let me tell you, I love your show. Your
Oh, thank
show, you
you.
and your husband are so amazing. You have so
Thank
much
you.
knowledge. I love how you delve into the news and do your research and things like that. You're just wonderful. So thank
Well,
you very
thanks.
much for doing this. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel like I've been researching fat and weight loss and
I
diets
know,
all my
right?
life, so,
I know. I
you
got you
know
there. I'm right there with you.
I could talk about it all. I have enough trauma to last last for 1,000
That's
videos.
right. That's right.
So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
but
Good.
awesome. Well, thank you for joining us today.
You are so
It's
welcome.
been great having you,
Thank
and
you.
I'm Laraine Durham. Thanks for watching The Downsized Dish. We'll see you next time.